Assalamu alaikum everyone. Good morning. It's morning here in Armenia. I just washed my face. So, do any of you really truly understand or know how much I miss Jordan? I really, really miss Jordan. And I've actually been thinking about taking some time off because I've been doing some coaching for Muslim women the past week, and I still have several more booked, which is a great, beautiful thing. Alhamdulillah, blessings, many blessings. So I've been thinking about going to Abu Dhabi. I'm somewhat booking my trip, or planning to see if I'm gonna actually go ahead with it in the summer. And the conversation was in regards to one of the girls had met her husband in Jordan. She's also a revert, and she told me that I have some essential oils on my face, so if you see anything shiny, that's what it is. She had mentioned something to me that when she was, I think she was studying or teaching in Amman, she's from America, and she moved to Jordan, and then now her and her husband are moving to another Arabic country because he works in everywhere, so he travels for his work. She said before she converted, she was actually kind of turned off because she somewhat learned through Islam that, not through Islam, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Before she was Muslim, she noticed a lot of the guys would stop in the middle of the road to talk to her because they could tell that she was American. So she was saying how my husband, he's very different, and so he works very hard and he travels, and she's like, I don't even work, he financially takes care of me. Anyhow, so she said because that was like her first impression of a group of how Muslim or Arabic guys are, she thought that's how they all are. And then she was introduced to Sufism. A group of people kind of introduced her. There was a group going on in Amman, and that's how she felt the call to become a Muslim woman. And then she took her shahada. So she was kind of asking me if I experienced that as well when I was in Jordan. And the truth is no. Whatever that was passed on, in a sense of whoever was trying to really engage with me or talk to me, or even marriage offerings, it was about me. The intent was to start. So no, the intention was, and they would bluntly tell me that they have no intention of leaving the country, that they love Jordan, they want to stay in Jordan, and they want me to move permanently and stay in Jordan and get, eventually for me to get my passport, Jordanian passport, to become a Jordanian. Let me be honest with you, there's cheap people all over the world who maybe just, they don't really understand their duty. It really has nothing to do with Islam, because in Islam you're supposed to be taking care of financially the woman, but it really has nothing to do with Islam. But in Canada, when a lot of the newcomer Middle Eastern immigrants move there, they get arrested almost immediately because they act out of order. Not everyone, but several. And also, I'm not that type of woman. I'm not the type of woman that would ever pay for a man. I'm sorry if that hurts or offends anybody's feelings. I never have. I never will. Even when I was previously engaged many, many years ago, several times to different Armenians, never once would they ask me to pay for something, and if they did, I would be out. I would have left immediately, and I would have complained, because it could be because of culture. That's the thing. Culture plays a huge role, and people assume that Americans are, 50-50 everything. The women are more open-minded in financially offering these things, but if the woman is offering, that's different. I've never offered, and I never will offer. Maybe the only time I've ever done that is if I offer a zakat, like a tip of something when I travel in the Middle East, but I don't mix this with a marriage proposal because I would think he's cheap. And no. Look, there needs to be boundaries, and those boundaries should never be crossed. There needs to be personal values and moralities that you have as a human being, as a woman, and those should never be crossed. A lot of these men that play these things, even if they're not Arab, this happens all over the world, unfortunately. If they don't, they need to seek to understand each and every individual woman if they're going to try this thing on them, because what they do is they end up embarrassing themselves, because not all women, even if they're from a certain culture or background, they don't operate the same. Okay, so for example, if I'm hiring a man to do something because I need him to do something, for example, in the house or when I travel or something, I'm hiring him to do the job. I'm not seeking a romantic encounter. I'm not seeking a flirtatious encounter. I'm not seeking a marriage offer, and I wouldn't even want to marry someone if I'm going to be. It doesn't operate that way with me. I'm very calculated with who and what and how because my family growing up was so traditional. Even living in Canada, like I said in one of my other videos, where even if one word of English is spoken in the household, you could get thrown out or expelled out of the family. This is how disciplinary and traditional my family was and still is. And so therefore, we were always raised that man financially takes care of women, okay? And my family is not Muslim. So I don't really attract situations like that. And if I have, maybe once or twice, it's because of the people around me being a different ethnicity, and others that, like, from the Middle East or wherever they're from, don't have life experience to understand how women operate or people operate. They're stemming from a form of arrogance and ignorance. And this is their life lesson. This is their life lesson. They need to learn that through experience. For example, if you travel somewhere, or if I've traveled somewhere, like example Jordan, and I've given a tip because the person doesn't have change, so I've said, okay, keep the change, and the guy doesn't go and, you know, maybe somehow grab a cup of coffee for you or me or bring your change back, then to me, this is not a man who is, number one, lawful, who actually wants to be with you. If this is the case, that there is that he contacts you and asks you to be with you. This is how I calculate. For me personally, I'm going to look at him that he doesn't cherish me enough for that 1 or 2 dinars or dollars, that I'm going to be like, you're cheap, you're not going to be a good husband for me. So I'll just push him to the side and say, okay, blessings, you know, Jazakallah khair, blessings upon you, but you wouldn't be cut to be my history of my own history. I have never allowed a man to, maybe there should be a form of, if it was the case and maybe the roles were reversed and I was in your situation, or I was in her situation, and I was having men kind of use me just so that they can come and move to the country. I mean, maybe there needs to be a dialogue of what they're doing isn't right and being spoken, expressed to them. There's women who do this too, right? They use men for money, they use men to travel and so on. And I'm not gonna lie, almost all my life I've attracted men who would offer me money to travel the world with them, thousands upon thousands upon thousands, to marry them, and I would decline every single one, because for me, whether you're a millionaire, a billionaire, or you have no money, it's about who. And I would never offer to do this for another man either. Why would I do that? For example, why would I ever offer money to someone, a man, and want a romantic or a marriage or a relationship with them? I don't work this way, you know? Therefore, in the universal laws of Allah, however you think, based off your actions, based off your deeds and your intentions, because intentions are number one, you're going to attract either what you are, what you want, or the opposite effect, based off your own line of duties. There is a thing as a kafara, right? Which is a form of a karma in Islam. But don't worry, because these men and these women who use people for these situations, they get their own form of kafara, karma as well, because they need to wake up in life, and a lot of them do. They get arrested. So for the ladies watching this, don't be afraid if you're in Jordan to legally get someone, go to the authorities, go to the tourism police, or if you're a local as well, go to the police, because the law for the tourism police and the law, because in Jordan there's tourism booths, right? Tourism police booths in every corner. Don't be afraid to go to the police, because they will take it. They will arrest him immediately, and they will teach him a lesson to never do something like this again, because it is against the law to bother a woman on the street who is there either being a teacher or wanting to become Islam, wanting to convert to Islam, revert to Islam, or is not even a Muslim, and she's just traveling, and someone is coming up there in her face and wanting to leave the country. You could get them. Men that usually pull moves like this, they either don't know anything about their own law, or they don't know anything about the law in general. In Islamic law, in Islamic countries, these kind of things are hugely frowned upon. Harassment, assault, these against a woman is hugely frowned upon. So if anybody, whether they're local or not, man or woman, tells you don't do such things because it goes against Islam, please do not believe them, because it is in Islam to never do such things like this to a woman. These are also people who are just looking to get away with something, okay? So, Islamic countries, as a woman, you're pretty much going to be, especially in public, the way they don't physically come up to women and, but if they do assault, there's a huge punishment for them, or harassment. Don't forget that. If a man is expecting a woman to raise his kids, cook and clean, be devoted, to take care of herself, to be connected to Allah, even if she isn't Muslim, but this is specifically for Muslims, and have sex with him regularly, and keep the romance alive, and honor him, and respect him, and do her dutiful duties, the minimum that he must do, is provide security for her. Provide a home for her, pay for the home, pay for everything involving the home, paying for the food that she cooks. Not offer her, but give to her. Give her security. Provide her security. Provide her that stability. It doesn't matter if she's working or not. Doesn't matter if she's earning more financial means than him or not. If he has agreed that you work prior to getting married, when you sign that document, or if you have intentions to, you sit down and you talk about this with your potential partner from before. If he says, no, this is not somebody you want to be with because he is not a masculine. What's the point of marrying a man if he is not a masculine? There is an expectation of a woman to be a female, right? Between man and woman, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. It's not two females. The roles. Do you understand? It's almost as if when I hear these stories and situations of a younger man seeking love or romance or marriage with a foreign older woman, expecting her to pay for everything, it's almost as if he's viewing her in an Islamic perspective as Khadija, because Khadija was providing financial stability for the Prophet, peace be upon him. And in this case scenario, though, your man is not the Prophet, and therefore you're not entitled to be doing such things. So please do not fall for these tricks. It's not worth it. take yourself out, go have a nice massage, buy yourself some gifts, but just don't fall into these type of traps, ladies. Please. Vile women are for vile men. Vile men are for vile women. Pious and good women are for pious and good men. And pious and good men are for pious and good women. This is found in Surah An-Nur. Therefore, if it doesn't work out with the person that you are wanting to partner with or be married to, even if a friend, please don't feel or cry over what Allah is protecting you from. Because if you are good, you will end up with good. And if you are vile, you will end up with vile. This coincides with the kafara. There is a nasib and a qadr